What's going on, guys? CGG Matt back here at the title. Today we're tier listing every MLB team going into the 2025 MLB season. Almost said 2024. Sorry about the hair. A little messed up. Picking it out. Gonna wash it tonight. Ignore it. If you enjoy this video, make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. We're gonna jump right into it right now. Actually, we should read the tiers. You read the tiers, you have no excuses. Could make World Series. Could win division. Swirling the 500 drain, and bottomless pit of sadness. May add another tier, not sure about that. We'll see how it goes and how it plays out. We are starting with Detroit Tigers, who could win the division. Yeah, pretty easily. You're gonna see a trend here. I played this out mentally, and you're gonna see a trend. There's gonna be a lot from two divisions in one area, and Detroit's just starting it off. The Tigers are a very decent team. I think Job just made their opening day roster today. Their pitching may get better. I think Casey Mize was having a good spring. Some other guys that they got, they added Gleyber Torres, who's had all right spring as well. They got a bunch of guys, and they could do it. The Central's wide open. It's just that's the case. The Central is wide open. Any team could run out of the Central, and I wouldn't even second guess it or think twice about it. And Detroit's one of those teams. One of the best managers in baseball, one of the best pitchers in baseball, a really good young roster around that. Riley Green's a budding star. I mean, you have the pieces to make a division run. It's just, can they put the second halves that they've had over the last few seasons? They do it every year. Start out stinky, finish on fire. They did it last year, and it got them a playoff spot. Can you start hot and finish hot this year? I mean, hell, they could be like a 90-win team. They just have to be the end of the season Tigers from the beginning of the season. Pittsburgh Pirates, they'll be around 500. They make me sad, dude. They added like nobody in free agency, and that doesn't make me feel good at all, to be honest with you. I really respect a lot of the guys that they have. Reynolds, Cruz, Key Bryan, Nick Gonzalez can play a little bit. And then, of course, you have the young guy, Tamar Johnson, down in AAA right now. And then, of course, the pitching side, Skeens, Jones, Keller. Is Oviedo still there? I think Johan Oviedo is still there. They got a bunch of guys that I like, but overall, they don't do enough. Free agency was the time where I thought, okay, Pittsburgh, you're building something. Go finish it off in the offseason. Go sign a big bat or something like that. I thought maybe they'd be at least a Santander attempter, but I guess they think they have Sawinski, who's close enough. I don't know. I like some of the pieces. I just don't overall think that they're like a powerhouse, or I don't think that there's a world where they run away with the division or maybe even win it. There's a real chance they finish in like third or fourth. Colorado Rockies. No. Chase Dolander did not make the opening day roster. He's down in AAA or something like that. So that's like the one guy I was excited to see. Not really the one guy. They have some guys that I really like. But overall, the Rockies just have pieces, not a team. I think Tyro Estrada just went down. Like I said, they have pieces. Doyle, Tovar, McMahon's fine. A lot of people really like, what's the first baseman's name? Michael Toglia. Damn it. I knew his name was Michael, but I forgot it was Toglia. Either way, a lot of people are really high on Michael Toglia. I can see it. Playing at Coors definitely helps. It's just a weirdly built team of a bunch of individuals, but it doesn't feel like a team. They have a couple of guys, and the pitching staff's kind of nasty. Herman Marquez has been there for almost 10 years at the major league level. That is crazy to me. And Chase Dolander getting sent back down. They just don't have a lot of the pitching that I like. Their bullpen doesn't seem bad, though. Vodnik. They got a bunch of guys out in that bullpen that I think are really respectable. It's the starting unit, and then like Kyle Farmer might be playing big innings. I have no idea what that team's going to look like. I don't really like it very much. We're going to go to the White Sox. We're also going to go in the same spot. They didn't do much in free agency. Mike Tauchman, Brees Wilson, fine. But the rest of the roster is just young guys, youth. And I don't hate it. They have a good young pitching staff. And then, of course, like Colson Montgomery in the infield that they really like. I think they have pieces. It's another team where I'm like, they have pieces. Do they have enough pieces to win a bunch of games? No. I think they're still going to be the, how would I describe this? They're going to be like the doormat of the Central, but there's pieces. Is Reinsdorf going to mess it up? Absolutely. But as for right now, there's pieces at the minor league level that I really, really like for them, and I think that they could be better in the near future, just not this year. Angels, 500. I don't see them better than 85 wins. Not much, at least. I don't see them much better than like 81. So that's obviously 500. I don't see them in a very good light, honestly. Mike Trout, if he could stay healthy, that'd be so sick. The team would actually have a chance, to be honest, to be a over 500 team. They made some interesting signings. Kikuchi, bring in Soler. Of course, you bring in Darno, Hendricks. Weird couple of signings there. They bring in a bunch of, I mean, they got the unction going on over there. It really is the unction, for Christ's sake. Hendricks, Darno, Trout, and then a couple of young guys mixed in with that. Ohapi, Sean Well, Neto, Ward. Ward's not really young anymore. Again, it's another team with pieces. I think that's all I can really say about the Angels. They have pieces. Not really a team. They have pieces, though. It's not a bad roster, but I think 500 is about the cap. That's as high as I'm willing to go with the Angels, is just 500. The Padres are an interesting one. This one's the one that might age the worst, in my opinion. I'm gonna put them in. They could make a World Series. I mean, because they could. Look at their talent level. I understand they're not like they're not all there. It's not a perfect roster. Last year's roster was as close to like perfect as they were gonna get, and of course they kind of blew it. But I think that there's still plenty pieces there, bro. Manny Machado, Fernando, Merrill, and not to mention they like some of their young guys coming up as well. That's just the start. Bogarts is still there. Cronenworth is still productive. Maybe Campusano takes a step up. Luis Campusano, maybe. I don't know. But they had like a good roster last year and just didn't do it. The pitching staff this year isn't bad. King, Cease, Darvish, who was the one that Pivetta from the Red Sox? Was it Pivetta? So it's a decent roster overall. I think they can make a run. That's a team where it's like they could definitely, if they sneak into October baseball, they could do something. But I have no clue right now, and it's the one that might age the worst because if they stink at mid-season, pull the plug. I'd assume they'd probably pull the plug. Maybe not though. The ownership said that they're kind of back in. I don't know. We will see. It is the most hard team to project, in my opinion, is probably the Padres. Yeah, I said you're noticing a trend. The trend is continuing. The Royals are going into could win the division. It's another team where they really didn't do much in free agency. Well, the Tigers did stuff. The Tigers definitely did more in free agency than the Royals did. The Royals brought in Michael Lorenzen, brought back Mike Wacha, and obviously the hitting side is still just not ideal. I like what's Jack Caglianone or whatever in the minor leagues. He's been clubbing the ball in spring, so that's good to see. But of course, they have Pasquatch, and I love me some Pasquatch. You know, the pitching side of the ball is going to be able to fix itself. Let's be honest here. Reagans, Lugo, Wacha, Lorenzen, like that's a really good four to start. Their bullpen is like fine. Lucas Erceg, I think, is still there. It's a decent little bullpen, but it's the hitting. I'm sorry. Renfroe, Nelson Velasquez, MJ Melendez, John Indy is good, but is he going to be that good? I don't know. He's been clubbing the ball in spring as well. But I'm just not too sold on this team. And I'm still in the belief where, like, I know a lot of teams are worse without their best player. That's not breaking news. But the Royals are on the brink where it's like, if Bobby Witt sprains his ankle, God forbid, knock on the wood bat that he's using today, right? If he sprains his ankle, they're cooked. If he misses 3 weeks, that could cost them a lot of games. And God forbid he miss a month, it might be game over. Like, that's how thin their lineup is in my eyes. It's a thin lineup. And Salvi's aging. How long can you rely on Salve to be the timeless wonder who mauls balls? Pause. I like the Royals, but I don't see a clear and obvious winner of the AL Central. It's a logjam. That's how I'm gonna keep describing it. Cubs could win the division. That's another team where it's like they did enough in free agency to make me think, hey, they could do something. But they didn't do enough to put themselves over the top or to really solidify themselves as better than the other members of their division. Kyle Tucker's a great ad. Who the hell is playing like third base? I have no idea what some of these positions are going to be like. Michael Busch is good at first. I just don't know. I don't like a lot of the things that they have going on. Their pitching staff is wild, to say the least. Steele, Javier Assad, who had a good year last year. It's a weird team. And again, it's another team, like I said, where they did a good amount in free agency. Kyle Tucker is a tremendous player, like amazing, right? But also at the same time, they didn't do much else, right? Weren't they in on Bregman until the end? They were really hoping they could get Bregman, and they ended up swinging and missing on that. So that leaves them in an even more awkward spot. Like I said, who the hell is playing third, man? I don't know. I think they could win the division, but I think that's just about it. There's nobody in either Central that really stands out to me right now. This might be a hot take to some people, but I can't. I know Jose Altuve's been bad in spring in left field. It's been a rough experience. But of course, in left field in the minor league park is a little bit different because obviously the Crawford boxes in not Minute Maid. I forget what it's called now. It's not Minute Maid anymore, which is, I'd hate that. I hate that a lot, to be honest, Astros fans. But Jose Altuve with the Crawford boxes behind him, that should help a little bit. But at the same time, the lineup I think is good. I think their lineup is close to, if not on par with last year's. Of course, Kyle Tucker is gone. However, they bring in Isaac Paredes. They bring in Christian Walker. These are two big pieces. Plus internal development of Yainer Diaz. Maybe Jeremy Pena has a good year. I don't know. Of course, the big question mark has always been their outfield in this season. You know, you're going in there with McCormick and Myers as your like two guys, right? And I'm not sure if that's going to stick, but what they have, I really don't hate. I think it's really good. And I know a lot of people are like, this is the end of the Astros dynasty. I have to see them 15 games behind with 3 games left to play before I call them dead. Plus, I don't view their pitching staff as bad. Some people don't like their pitching staff. I really do. Fromber, of course, Arrighetti, Hunter Brown, Ronel Blanco, Christian Javier maybe. I don't know. He's been pretty bad over the last few years. But I think it's like a pretty good staff, honestly. It's not bad. You still have Hader in the back end with Abreu. Like, that's decent. That doesn't sound too bad to me. Milwaukee could win the division. It's like I said, man, it's a theme. It's an absolute theme going on here. The Brewers are another team where it's like, damn, I really like some of the things they did. But overall, I'm not too confident in them. I like a lot of the moves that they made, and I like a lot of the players they have. William Contreras is one of my favorite players in baseball. Like, in general, I'm a Yankees fan, and I love William Contreras. I have since he was a Brave, and now, of course, with the breakout last 2 seasons with the Brewers, I think it's been awesome. You know, I really wasn't high on them in my National League standings video that I did, but, I mean, after watching spring training, I'm watching more Brewers, and I'm seeing the vision. I'm not saying they're going to make a World Series run or anything like that, but they have so much talent. William Contreras, Joey Ortiz, Garrett Mitchell, of course, Churio, Yelich if he's healthy, you know, Terang. You know, they have high hopes for Terang. I didn't see him as a big bat last year, but apparently they really like him. And then like Sal Frelick, they really like. Got a group of guys, and I don't hate it, honestly. I wondered, my biggest critique was where the run's going to come from with this team, because they only have like 4 good hitters. Let's be honest with each other. Of last season, they really had like 4 good hitters. Yelich, who got hurt. Churio, who a rookie, amazing. Garrett Mitchell, who's obviously always hit. And then William Contreras. You know, it's just where was their lineup depth going to be? Where were the runs going to come from? But they pitch well, and they play such good defense. That's what they do every year. They roll out a great defensive lineup. They put together a decent pitching staff, and it works. The emergence of Tobias Myers, maybe? Minnesota, I'm not high on them. I'm not, you know, could they win the division? You know what? They really could. I don't like the team, but objectively looking at the names on roster, looking at the team on paper, it is a decent team. Look at their pitching staff. Joe Ryan, Pablo Lopez, Bailey Ober, Chris Paddock, 5th starter, whoever that may be. But like the top 3 is a really good really strong top 3. And then if Chris Paddock can have one good season, you know, a lot of people believe in Chris Paddock, and he's gotten a lot of chances in MLB. I'm curious to see, you know, if he's ever going to be, you know, a top-line guy, or at least not a top-line guy, but like a very serviceable starter. My big critique also was how last season ended. Let's be honest with each other. The ending of last season for them was hideous, horrible, downright disgusting, deplorable. Bars. Oh, my God. But Rocco Baldelli, I don't know why he's still there. Why are we still touting him out as the manager? He hasn't won a thing, and he's been there for like a decade. He hasn't even made a CS, has he? He might have, actually. That one year they won with Royce Lewis, not last year, the year before. Was that the CS? I can't remember. But he's done like nothing of note with the team, in my opinion. Their lineup isn't that bad either. Ryan Jeffers, you know, I'm a Matt Wallner fan. I think Matt Wallner, with a full season of work ahead of him, could really do great things. I also like Correa, obviously. Royce Lewis got hurt. So, yeah, that's like 2 days ago at the time of recording. Royce Lewis got hurt. Sorry, the phone was going off. We'll talk about the Mets now. The Mets, honest to God, you know what? I know people will be like, you can put them in, make the World Series. They don't. No excuses. You dumped a lot of money on Juan Soto. Win. There's no excuses. I don't care. Pitching injuries. You dumped $1 trillion into this damn roster, Steve. It better win something. You know, this better not be a first-round out team, because if it is, oh my God, that would be horrific and hilarious for me at the same time. I'm actively torn, because I don't know whether I should be cheering for Juan Soto, because he helped the Yankees make their first World Series since I was a damn kid, right? But there's no excuses. I don't care. The Dodgers are there, Matt. The Dodgers, they're not better than the Dodgers. Well, they're spending damn near the same amount on payroll, so you better do something. You got Pete Alonso back. You got Frankie. You got Mark Vientos, who was supposed to be this godsend rookie. All right, let's see it. Give me 162 of the Mets being great, and then go to the playoffs and do it. Do it. You spend $1 million. You spend $1 billion on payroll on this roster. It better win something, Steve. Oakland A's. I'm 500. I'm not very high on them. I know a lot of people are high on them. I just don't like their pitching staff, honestly. Sevy's is a serviceable pitcher, but not a 1, right? Luis Severino is not an ace. And he got the most money they spent since Eric Chavez. Like, that's wild. That's different. But it's crazy how they leave Oakland and all of a sudden they can spend money. Of course, that has to do with the revenue deal, and they would have lost the money, blah, 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 blah. I get it. But also, pretty lame, in my opinion. Yeah, their pitching staff is pretty mid, but their lineup can hit. Blade, Rooker, Butler, you know, Langoliers, Bangaliers, as they call them. I really like the lineup. It's just the staff. Joey Estes, Mitch Spence, JP Sears. Weird group. I don't like it. Mariners could win the division. They're in there. They're in the mix, right? Because of the staff. The pitching staff is, honest to God, what keeps them in the mix. You got Gilbert, you got Kirby, you got Castillo, you got Wu, you got Miller, you got Munoz out the pen. What the hell is that pitching staff? It's ridiculous, but they can't hit. Like, the Achilles heel is just the other half inning when they have to hit the ball. Can we get a full season of Julio Rodriguez being really good? Beats me, dude. And can we get, I mean, Cal Raleigh's Cal Raleigh. Raleigh? Ugh, I found out it was Raleigh, and I don't like that at all, to be honest. I'm gonna keep calling him Raleigh. The line, it's just a nasty lineup, though. Like, I don't like dissing teams that bad, but Jorge Polanco is playing third. Like, I don't like it. I don't like any of it, to be honest. They declined bringing Justin Turner back for no reason at all. I mean, your team can't hit, and you didn't even want to spend $1 million. Was it $3 million on freaking Justin Turner? Yeah, the season hinges on Victor Robles, and maybe they get a good year out of Randy Arozarena. Luke Raley hits the ball well. I don't know. Weird team. Don't like the lineup. So I'm going to keep pushing, because they could win the division just off rotation. It's such a good rotation. Texas is another, they could make the World Series. I view them very highly, although their pitching staff is very boom or bust. And by bust, I mean they'll be hurt. They could make noise, man. It's such a good lineup and a good team. I believe in them a lot. I think they're a top line team in the West. Honestly, it's either them or Houston that's going to come out of it, in my opinion. And I'd probably lean Rangers if I'm being real. I trust Corey Seager. Marcus Semien plays 162. That's Marcus Semien is there. If he's not good, he's there though, right? Hopefully you get a bounce back year out of like Duran, Evan Carter, Adolis, maybe. I don't know. I really just like the team though. And then the ads they put in, Peterson, Berger, great ads in my opinion. Those guys hit the ball hard. Washington will be around 500. Team with a very strong pitching staff in my opinion. Very strong pitching staff. Mackenzie Gore, Trevor Williams, Jake Irvin. You know, a couple other guys in there. I'm forgetting a couple. But either way, you know what I mean? It's such a good team pitching-wise. And hitting isn't bad either. Abrams, Garcia, Wood, Cruz. Maybe you get some production out of that. I really like it. Were they the team that brought back Josh Bell? Am I tripping? They also brought in Nate Lowe. Or do I have the wrong Lowe? Josh Lowe. I forget. I don't remember. Either way, they have a really good pitching staff. Well, not a really good pitching staff. It's like an above-average pitching staff with an above-average lineup. And I'm not saying, well, I don't know if it's an above-average lineup. It's close to average. I don't know. I just really like how the team's built. I think they're a very good team, but they're not good enough, obviously. When you have top-line teams like the Phillies, the Mets, and the Braves ahead of you, you're probably not going to win a division there, but you should put up a fight with them. Toronto Blue Jays. It's a teeterer. I'm going to put them in the 500 range just because of how good the East is. The East is very tough, and it always has been for like the last 5 years at least. They had a bunch of signings, Santander, Scherzer, Hoffman. They bring in Jimenez. You know, it's a very strong offseason they had, right? But where my issue starts is the pitching staff. I don't think it's that strong. Bowden, Francis, is Yariel Rodriguez going to get PT there? I have no idea. You're hoping for a bounce back from Bassett, but it's a decent pitching staff. But last year they just weren't that good. Barrios was all right, but then you're talking about Gausman down here, Bassett down here, you know, and it's like, can they just bounce back and turn it back on? I know they signed Jeff Hoffman to come out of the pen. That's a good signing. They also lost what's his name, Jordan Romano. You know, so it's a strong staff, but not the best. And their lineup's good, but again, like middle of the pack. You have a middle of the pack pitching staff and a middle of the pack lineup. You know where that lands you? Middle of the pack. Cardinals, I don't like how this team looks at all. I like some of the young guys, of course. Mason Wynn is very good, but like it's a weird combination of youth and aging. Sonny Gray, you know, Miles Michaelis, but also Jordan Walker, Mason Wynn, Lars Nootbaar. It's like, it's a weird combo. I think it was a genius move to put Wilson Contreras at first base. That was a big brain, in my opinion. I really like them doing that. And then, of course, I'm a big fan of Ivan Herrera, and I think that could be a decent catching group right there. So I don't dislike it, to be honest with you. I think they're actually going to be a pretty they're going to be a fun team, but not a fun team, you know what I mean? Because they have some guys that are like Alec Burleson's there. Nolan Arenado's just pitching a tent. I don't know what to do with that either. All around, I think the Cardinals are like a developing team that they can get better quicker, I guess. I don't know. A lot of this depends and hinges, in my opinion, on if Jordan Walker can be like a legit player for them. He was, when I think of like prospects I fell in love with, he was one of them. He had the build, quote unquote. And I know it sounds like Moneyball when like they're talking about he's got the build and everything like that, and they don't have any analytics to back it up. They just say he's got the look. Jordan Walker has the look, in my opinion, but he doesn't have the skill set. I'm just gonna leave that there. He strikes out a ton. He's not a good fielder. It's a rough spot for him to be in. I just hope that kid can like be happy, because he looked miserable last time I saw him on the field. Like he was just ready to, you know, leap off the top of the stadium, for Christ's sake. Mason Wynn's good though. Thumbs up. Orioles could make the world. You know, no, I don't think they can. I think they could win the division, but I don't think they're good enough to win the World Series just because that pitching staff is so mid. I'm sorry. Chuck Morton, Tomoyuki Sugano, like that's not moving me. Albert Suarez, is that Albert Suarez? I'm pretty sure, yeah, it's Albert. I don't like it a lot. I don't dislike it. Don't get me wrong. I predicted them to win the division, but I don't think they're good enough to make a World Series run. I don't know. The lineup's decent, but there's so many like prospects that are there that I'm like, maybe he's good, maybe not. Holiday, Mayo. It's a weird group where I'm like, could they be good? Yeah, will they? I don't know. Overall, I like what they did in the offseason. I just don't overly think they're that strong. You know what I mean? I could talk myself into it by saying Adley bounced back here. They signed Gary Sanchez, who's an absolute difference maker, in my opinion. You know, that takes you from here, like, and could win the division, to no excuses. Honestly, I could throw them right up there just because of the Gary Sanchez signing, in my opinion. Doing a little bit of trolling, but if you know me, you know I'm a Gary Sanchez lover, believer. I'm still here. I'm still in the Kraken fan club. Right, but overall with the Orioles, I think they're good. Could they make a World Series run? No, they haven't even won a playoff game yet with this core. So, you know what I mean? Like, they got to take their lumps and slowly advance and reach new heights before I throw them into World Series tier. You have to take a step before you can run. The Braves, the logo is absolutely cut off horribly. I think they can make the World Series, for Christ's sake. It's a weird outfield, and I think that's the big one. Like, Ronnie's not coming back for a little bit. Harris is in and out. He's good. Michael Harris is really good, but he's been hurt. And then you bring in like Verdugo, De La Cruz, Profar, and it's like, okay, I'm kind of here for it. Murphy's out, which means it'll be a platoon of Chadwick Tromp and Drake Baldwin behind the plate. I don't hate it. Well, I actually, Chadwick Tromp is not my favorite catcher in the world, but I thought they were a silent team that should have went and got Higashioka, but I don't know. They didn't. you know, but I think they believe in Drake Baldwin. Still got my boy Nacho hemmed up in that infield. Orlando Arcia is still starting, which is not ideal. But you're hoping for bounce backs, and I can see bounce backs. Austin Riley, I think, is a bounce back candidate. Matt Olson can be a bounce back candidate. You know, Ozzy Albies, if he's healthy, Ozzy Albies has been good when he's healthy. I just think that team is like pretty good. I'm just not. I don't think they're a no excuses team because they're so injured. They've been injured the last 2 years beyond repair, to the point where I kind of worry if Ronald Acuna is going to be that good this year, simply because of the fact that he keeps getting hurt so frequently. Arizona Diamondbacks could also make the World Series. They're a silently great team. Like, top to bottom, I really like how this team's built. Pitching staff-wise, Burns, Gallen, Kelly, you have Fott, Nelson, Erod, J-Mo, Jordan Montgomery will throw there silently. But it's a decent little, like, pitching staff. It's a good pitching staff. And then closer, people are worried they haven't named a closer, but I think that's normal in baseball nowadays. You could just, you know, basically kind of platoon your pitching staff to based on who you're facing, what the lineup's like when, you know, coming up to hit. The lineup's really good too. Corbin Carroll, Ketel Marte, Gabby Moreno, Lourdes Gurriel, Jake McCarthy. You know, it's a decent group. Perdomo I really like, and then maybe Jordan Lawler gets some PT. Eugenio is one of my favorite players in baseball, honestly. They got a bunch of guys that I think this is a silent World Series contender. Boston, they could win the division just because of that offense. I don't think that their pitching staff is all too great, in my opinion. I just don't think they're that great pitching staff-wise. People are gassing up Walker Buehler, and I'm like, ugh, I'm not a Walker Buehler guy. Like, Houck had a good start last year. He didn't finish very well, but he's fine. Cutter Crawford's okay. Of course, Crochet is their big one. Crochet could be really good. Could be. He definitely could be. You know, he's just got a full season of work has yet to be done for him yet. I know last season you could say it was a full season of work, but they capped his innings at like 4 a game at one point. They weren't even letting him really go 2 times through the lineup. So I don't know. I think he's a good pitcher, but I need to see a full season before I go out here and say like he's Chris Sale 2 or something. That lineup's deep. Bregman, Devers, Casas, Duran, you know, Wilyer Abreu. You know, Colton Wong had a good year hitting last year. You know, they got so many strong hitters that I think that their lineup could help them win the division. The pitching staff I'm just not very high on, but their offense is so high octane. Marlins, disgusting. Disgusting. That's all I have to say. I've even watched it. I've been watching a lot of spring training. Have yet to watch a Marlins spring training. Not going to lie to you. Have yet to watch a single Marlins spring training game. Maybe I'm wrong for that, but I really just can't be bothered, honestly. The Yankees, they could make the World Series, but you know what? No, I'm putting them down. You know what? No, they're footing the bill on a big roster. Just like the Mets. Same logic as with the Mets. You're footing the bill on a big roster. You better put something together. Obviously, Garrett Cole going down is an absolute killer, and it hurts my heart. But Clark Schmidt's also on the IL. The pitching injuries are piling, and Luis Heal's hurt, and we haven't even hit freaking June yet, and half our pitching staff's dead. But the lineup's not bad. Goldie's back. He said he's 100%. You know, Judgy just hit a home run today at the time of recording. Like, Volpe, Judge, Goldie, Belly, you know, it's a decent lineup. And then my boy J.C. Escara behind Austin Wells, who has been great leadoff so far in spring. I really like what the offense looks like. It's the pitching staff that has been ravaged, destroyed, demolished by injuries. We have like 2 healthy out of the 5 that we had to start the season. Yeah, I'm right figuring 2 because Fried and Rodon are the only ones that are healthy. Cole's down, Heal's down, Schmidt's down. We're freaking relying on a guy with the last name Schlittler to pitch us games, and Cookie made the opening day roster. That made me happy. I know Cookie probably shouldn't be on the opening day roster of a team that's trying to win a World Series, but I love me some Cookie Carrasco, and I'm selfish at the very least. If my team's going to suck, I want to watch a player that I like on that team. Oh, dear Jesus, the Rays. At the time of recording, Shane McClanahan's elbow just exploded. Like, he threw a pitch, and he went like this and walked off. I don't know, man. That might be clips for him. That's sad, bro. He threw like 40 pitches today, and that thing just gave way. As soon as he threw that pitch, he was holding it and walking off. Got to pull the plug right there. So I don't mind the Rays. Yandy Diaz is there. Lau and Lowe are still there. Like, it's a decent lineup. I think Camanero's their biggest X factor. If Camanero's legit, they could do something. I'm going to move them up to 500, actually, because that's disrespectful keeping them that low. I think they could make 75, 77, 80 wins, maybe, actually. It depends on what Caminero is doing. Caminero needs to be the guy that we expect him to be. And they have a bunch of pieces in the minor leagues that they're building through, so it's not like I can even like sit back and tell them they got no future. Like, they're not the Marlins where I'm looking around going, what the hell is going to happen here? What is this? You know, they're better than that. The Reds could win the division. It's starting to get crowded. The Reds could win the division. I like some of the moves they made. I really like, you know, Encarnacion Strand. That's the weirdest one to start with. Spencer Steer, Ellie, Matt McClain's back. That's the one that makes me the most happy, is seeing Matt McClain back. That's like my favorite player on the Reds, right up there with Jake Fraley and Candelario. I really like Jamer. I know he had a bad year last year, but I was so high on that Jamer signing 2 off seasons ago, and it felt like a good freaking move. I don't know. Maybe I was tripping, but Jamer was coming off a good year, and I thought he was going to have another good year with the Reds because Great American Small Park, but no, he was not very good. But they could do it, and then like Hunter Green, streets are saying he's due for some regression. I'm just saying that's what the streets are telling me, you know, but I like the pitching staff regardless. Even if Hunter Green's like a 4 ERA guy, I still like Nick Martinez. I still like Lodolo and all them boys. I think it's a decent habit. I think it's a really decent rotation. It's not the best, but again, the Central's basically all here. So Guardians, guess where they're going? They could win the division. I mean, it's not a particularly strong unit. They got like 4 good hitters. That's crazy. Ramirez, Fry, Lane Thomas. Who else is going to be a good hitter? Manzardo maybe could be a good hitter. Bo Naylor maybe could be a good hitter. John Kensey Noel maybe could be. You see what I'm saying? There's too many weird, there's too many variables with these teams, and that's why sometimes I'm not as high on them. Of course, their pitching staff isn't bad, though. You're talking about Tanner Bybee. Shane Bieber is going to be back at some point, I believe. You know, maybe you're talking... what's his name? What the hell's his name? Ben Lively is going to be in there again. And what's his name? Luis Ortiz was a breakout candidate for a lot of people. So, I don't know. Maybe. Just really maybe for them. That's all I can say about most Central teams. Doyers, you're going into the top of no excuses, Bubby, because there's really none. I know your pitching staff is oft injured. You look at Blake Snell. You know, you see that, and you're like, he kind of injured Dustin May. Yeah, Tony Gonsolin. Like, they've spent time on the IL. That's for damn sure. But overall, you foot the bill on a $1 billion roster. Go win with it now. You know what I mean? I like that mentality of like, hey, if you're going to foot the bill on a roster this expensive, you should win with it. And Roki Sasaki's still there. Like, he doesn't even cost anything. Roki's there, and he doesn't even cost anything. What's his name? Haesong Kim or whatever just got sent down. That's funny. I think it's hilarious, but overall, their infield's still really good. Their outfield's still really good. You know, Teoscar Hernandez, Kike Hernandez, Freddie, Muncy. Freddie's hurt. Muncy, Mookie. Mookie lost 15 pounds because he was sick. That's horrifying. But again, overall, no excuses, bro. This season's months long. Mookie should be able to get his footing under him. Freddie hopefully gets healthy. He will. By the time this thing patches out, it'll be like July. There'll be 20 games over 500. They'll finish the season with 100 wins, and then they'll steamroll. Phillies, I'm going to put them in, could make the World Series. I think the fact that they have a great pitching staff could really help them out. Really. Wheeler, Nola, Sanchez, Suarez, Luzardo. That's a great 1 through 5 right there. And then on top of that, their bullpen's pretty good. You know, you're talking about Alvarado, not Hoffman, Romano. Alvarado, Romano is a weird thing to say back to back. Strom, Kirkring, you know, it's not a bad unit there. And then the hitting is what scares me the most. Obviously, Harper, Turner, Schwarber are like the 3 pillars. But Real Muto, you're hoping to get like one more summer out of. Pay attention to what finger I'm using. It's not the middle one. Real Muto, you're hoping you can get another summer out of because he's aging and kind of slowing down a little bit. Stott, I don't like Bryson Stott. I'm sorry. He's not AOA-okay at times, honestly. He's AOAO bad or BABAD. I don't know. I'm making fun of this walk-up music because it sucks. Bohm is Bohm. He had a great first half, not a great second half. I don't know. Casty's okay. Casty's just there to hit bombs when nuclear events happen. And then, of course, the main piece of it all, Johan Rojas. No, I'm just kidding. Like, you have Marsh. And Max Kepler was an interesting ad. It's interesting, but overall, I'm like, I don't know if I'm that high on them. But at the end of the day, that pitching staff makes them so fearsome that I have to put them there. It's out of respect for that pitching staff because it's very good. Gigantes, Los Gigantes. They could win the division. No, they can't win the division, but they could win the division. It's in win the division. I don't think any of these teams, like, I think the Dodgers are the clear and away division winners of the West, but I'm talking about in a realistic division. If you drop the Giants in the Central, do you think they could win this NL Central? Yep, probably. Just same thing goes with the Padres or something like that. If you drop the Padres in the NL Central, you're talking about them a lot differently. Oh, the Guardians just gave a 5-year deal to Tanner Bybee. $48 million, nice and cheap. That's not bad. Yeah, the Giants overall, though, I've talked myself into actually liking the team because I could easily talk myself out of it. I think that their pitching staff isn't reliable at all. Like, Logan Webb is going to give you 200 innings just about, and he's just guaranteed for that. But you're talking about Robbie Ray, oft hurt, Jordan Hicks, who throws 100 miles an hour, and I feel like he has a very high risk of injury just because of how much torque, how much he throws, you know, how much mustard he puts on that damn thing. And then, like, Verlander, who's 1.5 million years old. It's a weird group. I like Hayden Birdsong. That's an aura-ass name. He's got a name with a ton of aura attached to it. Hayden Birdsong. And then I really also like, what's his name? Kyle Harrison. So it's a decent rotation, but it's not great. Jung-Hoo Lee, I think, got hurt again, which oh, God, that guy. I like him, but, oh, God, dude, what are you going to do with that? Willie Adames is there. Matt Chapman's there. That makes for a sick left side of the infield. The right side, I don't know about that one. And then Pat Bailey is like a really good defensive catcher. If he could slap together a 105 OPS plus season, 105 WRC plus season, either one, that's one of the best catchers in baseball. Can he hit? Yeah, I've talked myself into liking them rather than disliking them. A little bit easier said than done. But as you notice, there are no more teams left, which means the video's over. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe, do all those things. Comment, tell me where I'm wrong, where I'm right, blah, blah, blah. You know the drill. I'm going to go catch the game. See you guys in the next one.